From beautiful downtown North Manchester, Indiana, it's Good Night with Christopher Blue. So here's your host, Christopher Blue.
Hello and welcome to Good Night with Christopher Blue. I'm Christopher Blue, and we have a wonderful show for you tonight. Tonight, we talk about what it takes for a real-life superhero to design their uniform. So let's get my superhero co-host out here, Reverb. How you doing, mate? Reverb. How are you?
I'm trying to figure out how we can finish that pumpkin.
Well, they can't see that was last night. Remember, that was last night. Don't destroy the movie magic. Reverb, in the 12 plus years that we've been doing this together, we both have come up with different uniform designs. Dusk Citizen, we did an interview with him probably about a month ago now about that. And he had multiple uniform designs over his career. So that's what I wanted to talk about: uniform design and different ways to go about designing your uniform.
Sounds good.
You are kind of in Edna mode a little bit, where you actually create some super suits. You've created mine, all except for the mask, and your uniform you've made yourself. So what's kind of step one for you when it comes to designing a uniform?
Well, the couple times I've tried to recruit someone and it didn't work, the questions I would ask them would, what are your three favorite DC and or Marvel superheroes? And then I'd ask them to list about 5 of their favorite colors. There was a guy from my old job, and I was looking at recruiting him, and he was kind of interested about it. And he, it was a Marvel character. I believe the name is Sentry. It's basically Marvel's version of Superman. But I kind of made a similar outfit for him, using colors that he had picked. And I think anyone can just pick a favorite character or two and just color their choice, and just throw them together, wild card, put some characters and cut them out, some colors, put it all in the hat, just shake that thing up, and then just pick stuff out.
Well, I mean, so talking about like your uniform, obviously very heavily Nightwing inspired. What was it always kind of intended to be Nightwing inspired, or
no? I'm not sure if I've already covered this in the show. I'm pretty sure I have. But I did quite a bit of solo work after my first team as a teenager kind of fell apart. So when I went solo, I went with black because there were plenty of times that black did help me kind of hide when I needed to, when I got in over my head. But I didn't want to just come off as some guy traveling around at night wearing all black with a mask. And blue is an honorable color. It represents trust, loyalty. And so I'm like, well, I can go with blue and have blue incorporated into it, so it's not so terrible. And at the time, my code name was Venge. So I had my black uniform and just a blue V on my chest. But everyone kept making Nightwing jokes, and I'm not really a comic book person. I mean, my dad was, so I knew a little bit about who Nightwing was, but I looked into it and I was like, oh, we actually have a bit in common. The biggest thing was, I wanted to be a cop and still do my RLSH work, and there was a point that Dick Grayson joined the police department and still did his Nightwing thing on the side, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
So I did, when I decided to change my code name from Benj and reinvent myself a little bit, I figured go with a bird symbol. I can't remember what it was, but there was some symbolism behind the bird. But I also went with a phoenix. My first redesign did have a lot of different lines and points in it to be more phoenix looking. And over time, with the points and edges and everything, it just all kind of blended into just a bird.
Yeah. And now a weaver, which is still a type of bird. But yeah, so it's interesting how your suit kind of evolved over time. With me, I was very influenced by Spider-Man and a little Wolverine in there, Captain America, and I think that was very well represented in the suit that Razorhawk made me, and then when the spandex finally failed, I gained a lot of weight, and that suit was destroyed anyway, and I needed a new suit, and you came up with a totally new design. You kind of made my symbol a little bit more Spider-Man-like with the claws, which was an interesting choice. I like it. It's the symbol I still wear today. But yeah, and again, a lot of line work, kind of like what you were saying with yours in the Phoenix, because real life superhero uniforms as a whole, they went from like this classic, comic book looking type of uniform, and in more recent years, it's definitely more tactical, more line work. So it's interesting to see how real life superhero uniforms have evolved as a whole.
And it's I think we were just talking about this earlier today, like because the uniforms in the movies and comics have changed over time. Like you said, they used to be classic, just simple spandex or tights, and now they've got a lot more line work. There's texture added into them. A lot of the ones that don't have, the superpowers have gone more tactical looking, and
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like life imitates art, without even fully realizing it. We're kind of evolving our suits too. I did add line work because I did get some inspiration from the New 52 comics, which is why I had some of the, instead of like an actual stripe, I just did paracord lines to make a stripe and left the blue inside of it.
Yeah.
For your suit. But yeah, there's you can go through plenty of people in the community, and you can see lots of different Batman inspired uniforms, Spider-Man, Captain America's, So you can really get inspiration from anyone you want, anywhere you want.
Yeah. So before we totally derail, the first step is pick some comic book heroes that inspire you. Pick your favorite colors, and then kind of what's the next step at that point? Like what?
I guess get your well, I guess it could be a little difficult picking a symbol and then a name with a symbol, or if you want to go with a name first and then a symbol from that. But
I would think it'd be easier to come up with a name before you come up with a symbol.
And it's always something that should be important to you, or what you think is going to be important to your goal in this, your mission. And then a lot of times I'll get construction paper, and I actually think I commented on this on a post somewhere in the new superheroes group. But yeah, I'll draw something. Sometimes it only takes 3 tries. Sometimes I'll have to draw it 5 times, cut it out, size it. Like the blue that I have on my mask right now, I actually did a little bit of it at work. We had flimsy paper, so I was just drawing it at work, and I had to draw it 6 or 7 times at work. And then I was able to cut it out, and then I got home and I put on some more construction paper, and then I cut that out and put it up, and it was just a little too small, so I made it a little bit bigger, cut that out, put it on, and then I had to get the right fabric, and I'd use pins, and I'd put that down around the paper down around the fabric and cut around that. And sometimes I'd still have to cut 2 or 3 times to get the fabric and everything just right.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of work goes into designing. Drawing it out, I think, was the gist of what you were trying to say. So get your inspirations. That's okay. Get your inspirations and then draw it out. And speaking of drawing it out for any aspiring real life superheroes, or maybe you just want to design a suit just for fun, we would love to see your drawings. So please post them onto our Twitter with the hashtag RLSHsuit. And we would love to go through and see those on Twitter, so please post your drawings on there. Is there anything else you'd like to say about designing suits?
Have fun.
Yeah, have fun. All right. With that, that's our show. Thank you guys so much for liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. And don't forget to click that bell so you get notified whenever we upload new content. Until next time, good night, my sweet baby angels. I'll see you tomorrow.